2 days in hell, battling a determined and well-entrenched enemy, having to fight bloody battles for every village and every forest. But we have succeeded. The Soviet defense line has been broken and we can continue towards Leningrad. We can only hope that victory will be swift and we will be able to go home before Christmas. But if the determination persists that the Soviets have shown here in the face of our tanks, then I fear that more terrible battles await us. Hello there, and welcome to the final battle of the Raging Bridgehead DLC in Graviteam Tactics Mius-Front. Yes, this is the last battle that we will be fighting in this campaign, and during the battle or afterwards I will tell you what I think of this DLC and if it is worth the money. So let's go into the battle and see what we can achieve. I am looking very much forward to using these scout cars armed with 20mm cannons. I think that will be quite awesome. Let's go to the battlefield. Here we go. Look at these things. Aren't they awesome looking? 8-wheeled, quite quick, terrible armor, but they have a 2cm autocannon, and since these are scout vehicles, they have full duplex radios. You can see this on top of them. This is the antenna for the radio. Quite powerful. But yeah, their main advantage is that they are very quick. However, we are facing a big challenge here. We have enemies hiding inside this forest and we have almost no infantry with us. So that means that these vehicles will have the terrible job of going into the forest to hunt the enemies. And that won't be easy. Here we have a headquarters unit, and I will use some of the infantry that is attached to that unit to scout for these scout vehicles. Yeah, the units are getting underway. You can actually get out and you will guard this position here. Everybody else is driving to disperse positions. Some are driving up to the house to make sure that this is not captured by the enemy during the battle. Others that have infantry on board, they are driving over to the scout vehicles. So let's see if we get this to work or if somebody gets stuck somewhere along the way. Now look at this truck, he's quite full. Yeah, okay, these guys are defending. Finding themselves, this guy's finding himself a crater to hide in. I love it that the AI is so smart to recognize such features on the map and use them. Okay, these two trucks seem to have a disagreement about who gets to go first. Well, that sometimes happens. Yeah, come on, just drive. There you go, good job. Now that you are out of the way, the other one can start to drive too. But let's have another quick look at our Sonderkraftfahrzeug 232. I think, I'm not sure about that, but I think these things could go in reverse as fast as they could go in the frontal gear. So they are really well suited for quick scouting operations. Move up, find the enemy. If the enemy is consisting of only infantry, you can fight them very well with the machine gun and the autocannon. Otherwise, get the hell out of there really, really fast. That's their strength. These things are quick. Look at this shield that they have here in the front. Very interesting. Okay. Maybe we can get some of them moving before the infantry arrives. Like for example, we can move these things up to the creek here. So let's do that. I will always try to move them in such a way that one half of the unit is covering the movement of the other half. So you guys, you can go to here. And they're going. I wish I had these sooner in the campaign. They would have been very useful. Very nice. Are the trucks moving as I told them to? Pretty much yes. Everybody's going to where he's supposed to go. Look at them moving through this water hole here. Soviet roads. Apparently absolutely terrible. Also one of the main reasons that the Germans actually lost the war, because yeah, you try organizing logistics across such a big stretch of land without proper infrastructure. Didn't work. Look at them go. Look at these poor souls in the back bounce around. And getting wet now. But the truck is powering through. And they are on their way. Nice. Okay, let's go back to our scouts. Here so far nothing. Okay, now these guys are in position, so it's time to move up these guys. Go to there. Okay, let's see who else can we start to move already. You three. Maybe we can have you move up to here. And over here is a little path through the forest. I could try to control that with with the scout cars, so let's move those guys up to here. Okay, these trucks are apparently not taking the route through the little fort here, which is understandable when there's a bridge around, so they will go the long way, most likely. Go across the bridge, and then maybe go by this road here in the back. We will see how that plays out. This first truck's crew, it was ordered to go here and to defend this space, but now the truck is actually in the way of the other units, which is not nice. Okay. They are getting past it. With some small difficulties. Oh, you will go left here. No, you won't. Okay, what are you trying to do? Yes, you are trying to go left. They seem to have trouble. Maybe... oh, don't ram them. Maybe the rain that we experienced earlier has really softened up the ground. They seem to struggle a bit with driving. But now he's on his way and the other one is turning and will follow. Okay, so they are going by the shortest way after all. Which is good. That's actually very good. Okay, up here. So far nothing is happening. Which I find perfectly acceptable for now. We will have a little issue here with these little creeks. Especially with this one. Getting across it might be difficult. However, I hope that these vehicles can pull it off. Oh, that was my email program, don't mind that. I forgot to turn that off. Doesn't matter though. Okay. Let's have these guys go to here, so that they can cover these vehicles as they go across. Try to advance up the hill. You here. You have these vehicles in position, so you are free to advance up to here, but be mindful of the old trenches here that we already fought over. Yeah, these are not fresh, these are old. We have fought here before. That's really one of the joys of this game. You revisit old battlefields. And it's always awesome to see that. Okay, try to get over there. Don't get stuck on something, please. These vehicles are going where I want them to, which is nice. And the second group of vehicles can follow. As you might have noticed, I am not ordering these vehicles to go fast, so that is why they are a bit slow. But I'd rather have them drive slowly and carefully, and hopefully spot the enemy before they get into close contact with them. Yeah, driving through the river here is not easy. I mean, this does require some off-road skills, I believe. Especially getting up the other side. But they're doing it. Awesome. Okay. Can these guys find the place to cross? Actually, I will have these guys go fast across, just to reduce the chances that they are getting stuck. Maybe. You know what I'll do? You will move fast. In a column formation. So that you all cross in the same place. Alright, so far so good. So far so good. We did not find any enemies yet. But that's only a question of time. And these guys will now continue this way. But they will wait until this force is in position to cover this clearing here. The trucks are on their way. The presence of the infantry will help to find the enemy. And then we can move these vehicles in position to cut the enemy off, to suppress them, and to destroy them. I don't know how many enemies I'm facing. All I know is that there is like one headquarters unit and a unit of riflemen that is actually entrenched. So the enemy will be sitting in trenches somewhere. Okay, the vehicles are getting across now. That's good. They found a place to make a crossing. Wow, it's not easy. Oh, it's actually not easy. But they're doing it. Slow and steady wins the race in this case. Good job. Okay, now that these guys are across, let's send these 3 vehicles across as well. They will go to here. Okay, let's move these guys forward into the forest to which position? Oh, we have spotted something. Enemies spotted. Nice. Okay, you guys move to here. Yeah. Enemy infantry sighted. Get out, you cowards. Yeah. Absolutely right. Okay, we are opening fire. And the 2cm cannons are starting to sing. But it's good, we have a notion now about where the enemy is. So that's very good. Nice pictures that we get here in this final battle. Really nice. But okay, we know there are some enemies over there. So right now this unit is moving across the ditch. They will get in a position here, from where they can suppress the enemy, and then I might take these 3 vehicles and move them around the enemy's flank, use the mobility, move them to here and establish a nice crossfire. Maybe even move them further back, so that they can cut off any enemy retreat. That might actually be a good idea, that we should make use of right away. Let's actually do that. That's really a good idea. Okay, you will... How do we do this? You will move fast to here. And then you will move up the creek, so to say, to there. And from there you will open up in a line formation and move to here and here. Just to make sure that the enemies are not escaping. The second unit here, they will actually follow you to a position here on the enemy's flank, and then the other vehicles will push in this direction. Okay, the infantry has arrived. We will need those guys. So let's have just the soldiers without the vehicle. Let's have these guys sweep the forest. And this way. And who else is here? I believe it's you, yes. You will sweep that way. And the commander unit, he will sweep over there. Good. Now you guys, I want you to go fast towards there. Then you will move up to here. And when you have done that, you will turn in and move this way and fight the enemy infantry. At the same time, these vehicles, they will move closer to over there. So they will have to cross the little creek, but I'm sure that they can do it. Over here, these units are starting to move deeper into the forest. Actually, you guys, I did not give you a good order. Do it like this, please. That also means that I did not give a good order to these guys, so let's repeat this. You go there, there, and then you will go there. Okay, that should work. The enemy is having a bad day. The good thing about these vehicles, as I said earlier, they all have a full duplex radio. That means they can send and receive information. And you can see the effect of that right here. They are all sharing information about this enemy. So even these guys over here know about this enemy's position and can engage with just blind fire. That makes them very powerful. They can work very well together in such a fashion. It's really nice. Okay, these vehicles, yeah, you need to get closer together. Like this, please. These vehicles, I believe they are searching for a place to cross the creek. Please find one. And the infantry is starting to move. Good, they will help me to find more enemies. These scout vehicles are really well suited for such an operation where they hunt down an enemy that is basically already beaten. When you are up against enemies that have anti-tank rifles, then these things are not very good. Anti-tank rifles can pierce their armor easily. Even heavy machine guns can do some serious damage to these vehicles. So you have to be careful where you employ them. They are, after all, scout vehicles. They should not be expected to fight on the first line of contact against heavy enemy units. Now, these guys have trouble finding a place where they can cross the creek. This is unfortunate, but yeah, we will make it work sooner or later. For now, I'm waiting for this infantry to arrive. Because this infantry, they will find targets for us. I need them for that purpose. Come on guys, please find a way to cross this ditch. I doubt that they are really hitting the enemy because of all the trees that are in the way, but they are pinning them. They are suppressing them, pinning them in place, and this is really good. I know where the enemy is, I know he's not getting away from there. And that's all that I need right now. Okay, these vehicles on the move. These vehicles might be organizing themselves finally. Oh. They struggle with the trees. Okay, let's have these vehicles push a little closer. Also these ones, now that these vehicles are on the clearing, they can push into the forest as well. I am a bit surprised, to be honest, that these things are not driving any faster than they are. They are really, really fast on the roads, but off-road they seem to struggle a little bit. Or it is just because of all the trees and the difficulties navigating this area. That's also very possible. In these things they are now moving at a decent speed, I'd say. Not super fast, but not super slow either. About the speed of a Panzer II. Okay. Do I finally have you guys move across the creek? I do. Although, to be honest, this is not looking good. Don't get stuck down there. Ah, somebody's shooting. Yeah, somebody is shooting. I hear shots. Somebody's shooting at my infantry. It's possible. They are now entering the forest. Yeah, most definitely shots heard. And my infantry is seeking cover, so they are being fired at by somebody. We might have enemies just in front of us, somewhere here in the forest. Enemies found over here. Okay. Well, I say it's good that we are finding them. Let's maybe move these vehicles a tad bit closer. Maybe they can get eyes on whatever is shooting over there. These vehicles have made it across, this is nice. So now they can begin their advance on that enemy position. vehicles here, they are standing by. But I can already start to move them closer. There is actually an opportunity to get across the creek over here. I only just spotted this. Okay. There's a little path that goes through the forest. So let's move our vehicle up to here. From there they can cross the ditch easily. Okay, these vehicles are across. Let's have them push towards that enemy that we spotted over here. We are being fired at. Okay, now we are making our first spots. I believe this enemy might be entrenched. That's why they are so hard to spot. Yeah, they are. And it's scouts again. Oh no. Not again. Not the scouts. Ah well. I have some good fire support with me. They will get rid of those enemies. Easily, I hope. Okay, this infantry unit, please be careful. Don't get yourself killed. I might need you. Okay, can we do something to help with the situation? Yeah, we might actually move this vehicle up to here. You are going to here. You are going to here. You will just cover. Make sure that any enemies that show themselves over here are being shot at. Over here the movement that I planned is happening and it is going well. So that's good. This unit, they are advancing through the forest towards the enemy's position. However, they are not able to spot them for now. Might be because of all the vegetation. Okay, these scout vehicles are making contact. Very good. My infantry is fighting with the enemy sporadically. I have at least 2 guys sitting inside foxholes here. Possibly more. Yeah, definitely more. There's a full squad sitting here. And I can hear more small arms fire back here. The scout vehicles are advancing and engaging. Am I hearing more enemies somewhere over here? Yeah, they are shooting at these vehicles. They're somewhere here in the forest. Yeah, here is a position. There they are. That's fine. I don't think they will be able to penetrate the side of the vehicle at this range, although... yeah, they did some damage to it apparently. I have to be a little bit careful. Okay, my infantry, they're still advancing onto these enemies. And up here we're advancing to the crossing. We will make use of that. Vehicles are getting in position, very nice. Can you go closer than this? That would be very nice of you. Get a little bit closer to the enemy. Maybe you will have an easier time spotting them. Okay, this unit, you, without your truck please, you will move across. Because I don't think there will be more enemies back here, will there? No, well, it's not impossible. I might have to sweep this corner of the map just to make sure. Okay, let's do that. You go over here. Make sure that there are no enemies sitting there. Okay, the vehicles are advancing towards the enemy's position, so we should soon be able to spot them. And then I hope they will be finished. Yeah, we are making spots now. I have to be careful that we don't drive too close. If we get inside grenade range, it might get unpleasant. Although I very much suspect that the enemy is gonna have some real problems very soon. Okay, let's have these vehicles drive closer. I need to have some vehicles here. This seems to be the main concentration over here, so we need to fight that. Let's see, these vehicles, they are in a position sitting here. I might get them across. This unit here is running low on ammunition, I guess. No, but they suffered a loss and their morale is very low. So yeah, do absolutely hold your position, don't advance any further. Actually, there's a trench here that I might sit your ass in. Maybe that's a good idea. Until your morale recovers. Okay, it's coming back up. Oh, shoot! The enemy has a gun up here. Okay, we have to act fast. This vehicle. Move fast over there. You are moving fast. You are holding and shooting. Ah, damn, I did not envision the enemy has guns. Damn. Okay. They're facing the wrong way for now, but that won't last. So let's make sure that we take these guys out before they do damage to us. Okay, so far so good. Get eyes on, start engaging them, start fighting them. Over here the situation is pretty much under control. Let's get some vehicles moving wide. Let's get these vehicles moving closer until they can get eyes on. Over here... Okay, we've swept this area, it is clean, so let's get these vehicles to the other side and have them surround the enemy. Column formation. Actually, just do this. How's the situation looking here? Have we killed everybody in this position? Looks like it. The gun is pretty messed up and there are dead bodies lying everywhere. So I guess this worked. Okay, let's have you go. Maybe advance fast to over there. And we are still fighting individual enemies over here, but we are taking them apart one by one. These vehicles are holding position. This group, they will sweep the area. You will go in a line formation, dense formation, and you will go through fast. If you can, please. Okay, what about you? Did we kill off the enemies here? I doubt that we killed off everybody. And I hear more shooting up here. Or do I? I'm not 100% sure. Let's observe. Up here, this infantry, they are sweeping the forest. Not finding anything. So let's have them come up to here maybe, but do not go fast. Go at a normal speed. Okay, the vehicles are moving across, that's nice. Now that that unit is moving across, They will collapse inwards towards this unit and make sure that the enemies that were over here are dead. We do have more enemies up here. They're now being killed off. And the vehicles that are driving into them here will force them to move, and they will be easy to kill then. Yeah, these things, they are not tanks, so they can't just run down the trees, they have to actually go around them. That is decreasing their mobility inside of forests a lot. But alright, they should now be... Yeah, the enemies are among them. So this is actually now a little bit dangerous. Please don't stop. Keep going. There's one. I don't know if you can see that guy. He's lying in the grass. There he is. The vehicles did not spot him. But the enemy is actually retreating. We have killed off their important units. And that will be it from them. They're done. We won. Okay, we suffered 2 casualties. Oh. Okay. I am surprised. Let me have a quick look. Who got some casualties? This unit. You guys suffered 2 casualties in the close range fighting with the Soviet infantry here. Well, that can't be helped. It just happens. Okay, what did we fight? We fought the headquarters unit of the 19th 6th Artillery Regiment. They had some supply troops. Nothing too fancy. Yeah, this supply troop, they killed one of my soldiers. Look at them, they're still alive back here. And they had some scouts. Ah, okay. This is interesting. If you look at this, it says killed personnel 5. So these scouts, I have encountered them before, and this number does not reflect the killed personnel during this battle. It reflects the killed personnel overall during the operation. Okay, and they had an F-22 gun that was ultimately destroyed. Wow, that was it. Let's go back to the operation. And battle group defeated. I guess that's it for this campaign, right? Let's end the turn and see what happens. Yeah, that's it. Outcome. Using the success of the flank attacks, 41st Army Corps units enveloped the Soviet forces at Bolshoi-Sabsk and, developing the offensive in the northern direction, gained the rear of the Soviet troops. The 1st Tank Division resumed the offensive at midday on August 10th. On August 14th already, the Germans cut off the Krasnogvardeysk-Kingisepp railway. On August 16, they took the Volosovo station, located to the east. As a result, most of the troops of the Kingisepp sector in the Kingisepp-Weiman area were in a semi-encirclement along the river Luga, and a part of the troops was dislodged to the east in the direction of Krasnogvardeysk. Oh, and actually, we did achieve a map wipe. I thought there would be an enemy unit here, but it's actually not. So that's a complete victory. Yeah, it also says total victory. So this is, if we look at how much we achieved, the primary objectives, the player force strength was preserved to 87%. That gives me 82 of possible 100 points. We control all of the key points, so that gives me 200 of 200. The secondary objectives, we have 75 of 100 for reducing the enemy force strength below 70%. They are at 18% now, with just some headquarter units and an artillery battery remaining. Then we captured most of the key points. We got 37 from 100 points for capturing 56% of the key points. That's a weird one, to be honest. but we got 0 points for battle groups going into reserve. How do I achieve this objective? If somebody knows, please tell me, because I tried. I had some units on the field that I sent, some battle groups that I actually disbanded and sent the units to the reserve. So I thought that this would give me these points. Unfortunately, it didn't. So how could I have achieved this? I'm very curious. If somebody knows, please let me know. Okay, let's go over to... let's go over to the operation summary statistics. Platoons. Let's see. German side. Destroyed, killed. Is that my losses? No, this is my losses. Okay. So the German side, we lost 904 of our 6,046 soldiers and officers. We lost 9 tanks. 9 of 83? Did we really have so many? 9 of 83 tanks and self-propelled guns. I guess the half-tracks are counting into this. Oh no, the half-tracks should be counting into the APCs. This is weird. No way we had this many trucks. Maybe this is not total numbers. Maybe this is like a force strength point system. That might be it. Personnel, we had 1,384 wounded, 457 heavily wounded and 424 killed. The Soviet side, they had 238 wounded, 346 heavily wounded, 1,688 captured and missing, and 1,517 killed. So a complete disaster for the Soviets. We can even look at some graphs that show the success throughout the operation. Well, okay. Let's go over our battle groups really quick. How did they do? Let's view casualties and captures. Okay. Some of my units, well, a lot of my units actually received medals, which is nice. And some units got really into some hard fighting. Look at this, 33 losses. But they also killed 44. We will just scroll through this really quick. But yeah, you see maybe one of my tanks, they did some work after all. Some of them really killed a lot of enemies. Look at this, 90, 124, this tank, 140. Wow. You cleaned up and still no Iron Cross first class. What does one have to do to get that? Jesus. Yeah, my tanks were really the most powerful asset that I had. Okay, let's go back to the operational phase and let's talk about the Raging Bridgehead DLC. I like it, I really do. The campaign, it is interesting because we are playing in 1941, where the technology is still in, well, representing early World War I stuff, so we do not have something like a lot of Panzer IVs. We have a lot of Panzer IIIs and Panzer IIs that we need to use. And the Soviets, well, they are also quite handicapped here. They do not have the T-34 on this battlefield yet. And they do have a large amount of anti-tank guns. However, what I noticed is that they seem to lack proper armor-penetrating ammunition. And that was actually a very big issue for the Soviets at the early stages of the war. They lacked sufficient amounts of armor-piercing ammunition, so they had to make do with high explosive rounds or with shrapnel rounds. Shrapnel rounds actually proved to be quite effective, surprisingly, at fighting German tanks. But yeah, they lacked the proper ammunition and that handicapped them. And I think I saw that in this battle. A lot of the times I saw Soviet guns not shooting armor-piercing ammunition, but something like incendiary ammunition at my vehicles or shrapnel ammunition. So that was very well reflected. Playing this campaign as the Germans, it was a bit easy, But I think the breaking point of this campaign, the point in time where everything was decided, was actually at the tank battle here at Paleshi. I think that the Soviets had a really good chance to destroy a large part of my tank force here. But with some good tactics and a large amount of luck as well, I managed to not only survive this battle with my tank force intact, but to completely crush the enemy in this area. If you remember that episode, we had enemy T-50s attacking from Paleshi into these woods. I managed to stop them, but at the same time we had enemy BT-5 tanks coming around the flank here and shooting into the flank of my formation. That we managed to defeat both forces was really fortunate. Otherwise, the Soviet counterattack could have really started with this battle, picked up a lot of speed, and, well, defeated a lot of my forces. And who knows how the campaign would have gone then. By defeating the enemy in this area, I have basically crushed their main combat capability, and from that point on, I was able to just keep pushing. And it worked, as we can see. It absolutely worked. So I wouldn't say that the campaign is super easy to play as the Germans, but having this many tanks does give you some advantage, absolutely. If I was to play this campaign from the Soviet side, I would have had to rely heavily on my anti-tank guns, using them in ambushes to catch out the enemy tanks, maybe when they have to drive through forests. I would have also had to draw the enemy infantry into the forests, separate them from the tanks, and then fight them at close range, because that is where the strength of the Soviet infantry is. Fights at close range where they can make good use of their submachine guns, and where the Germans can't make good use of their machine guns, of their MG-34. So fighting this campaign as the Soviets would have been a nice experience, a nice challenge actually. The battlefield of the Raging Bridgehead DLC is very nice. It offers some really varied and interesting terrain with a lot of forests, a lot of swamps impeding movement, forcing you into bottlenecks almost, like on this road here. If you want to go up here with vehicles, you basically are forced to use this road, which makes it very interesting and very defensible for the Soviets as well. The rivers that are only that have crossing points only in a few places bisect the battlefield, and yeah, they give you a nice challenge. Overall, this battlefield was quite challenging, and I could very often not employ my tanks to their full effect because of all the trees and all the forests and swamps. Is this DLC worth the money? I think so. Yes, it is a big operation. It is maybe not something for a complete beginner, but I think if you play as the Germans especially, you will have an easier time and you have good chances of winning this, and it is really damn fun. So, give it a shot. Now that we have talked about all this, well, what is to follow on this channel? We will not abandon Graviteam Tactics. I will upload a few videos of maybe Steel Fury, but just a few. And then we will continue with another Graviteam Tactics campaign. I'm thinking about just continuing the war in a chronological fashion, so the next campaign would be Typhoon Rising. I have not yet decided if I want to play that as the Germans or as the Soviets. I'll take a look at both options, and you are also free to make suggestions, please do so. Also, please do leave me some feedback in the comments about this campaign. Did you like it? What do you think of it? Is it worth the money? Well, how would you rank it among the Graviteam Tactics campaign? I'd say this is one of the more interesting ones, to be honest. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, because you don't want to miss out on future projects, which will be quite exciting, I promise you that. So, with that all said, thank you very much for watching this campaign. It has had a lot of episodes, and to everybody who has watched them all, thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I really look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, have some great days, and goodbye.